Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at, well, I always say these are both homages to the Rolex Submariner, but more specifically the Ginault Silent Service and the Tudor BB58. Prices for these two watches, the Black Bay is about 4 times as expensive currently as the Ginault on the pre-order price, $1,039 pre-order. Whenever they go to the full MSRP price, it'll be $1,499. Tudor Black Bay 58 is now $3,950. When I bought this watch a few years ago, I think it was $3,500, somewhere around there. So maybe not the comparison video you're looking for. Maybe you would want to compare this to Rolex, but I think it compares better to the Black Bay 58. These both are lacking crown guards. They both have the chamfered polish edge, but that is about where the similarities end, other than sapphire crystal. But the Ginault has a flat sapphire crystal, and the Black Bay 58 has a box domed sapphire crystal for the vintage look, vintage appeal. Does also have an aluminum bezel insert. Has a bit of vintage Lume here, which I didn't realize the first year I had this watch until I compared it to my Submariner. But I really like the Tudor Black Bay 58. It's a nice, warm, vintage looking watch. 60 click bezel. Amazing bezel action on this watch. Among the best in my collection for sure. Oh, another similarity between these two watches is they both have a flower or a rose on the crown. A Tudor rose and the Ginault rose. But on the dial we have the Tudor shield and then the Ginault rose here. A flower. I'm not exactly sure what they call this, but anyway, let's take a closer look. So we do have applied indices, BGW9 Lume, some interesting wording on the Ginault here, kinetic, continuous, and then submersible maritime precision chronometer. And at the 6 o'clock you can see it says hand built in America. So it's assembled using global components. I don't know if any of these components are American made, but the watch is at least assembled in America. So we have a sapphire bezel insert, 120 click bezel. A bit of back play on that. Hopefully you can see that there. I prefer the bezel action on the Tudor. So they are both brushed and polished 316L stainless steel. So the top of this one is brushed, the sides are polished, and then you have that polished chamfered edge. This one, more closely replicates the modern Rolex Submariner. You have the 3-link bracelet. You have this on-the-fly adjustable clasp, which looks very similar to the Rolex Glide Lock. Functions in a similar manner. But with my Submariner and with this watch, I really haven't messed with the bracelet too much. This watch wears very comfortably on wrist. Actually, it wears a little more comfortably on wrist than the Tudor Black Bay 58. Really not sure how that works exactly as far as the comfort, but I didn't purchase this half link. Uncle Straps, provided me with this half link, but this half link has helped a lot with the fit and comfort of this watch on wrist. But as the seasons change, I always seem to have to be messing around with this. On my Submariner, I haven't changed it since the day I bought it, and this one I've had for a couple months now, and I haven't messed with the glide lock on it either. The on the fly adjustment. This is not a glide lock. So let me get both of these on wrist right after we talk about the dimensions. In my opinion, is this watch 4 times the watch of this one? No, but I would personally buy the Black Bay 58 over the Ginault, but I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. The choice is totally yours. I just really like the Black Bay 58. Even, you know, the bracelet is definitely its weakness, but it's still comfortable enough on wrist. You can see I've been wearing this watch quite a bit. I really do like this watch. I just wish the bracelet was a little bit better. And the bracelet on the Ginault definitely feels better on wrist. Okay, let's talk about the dimensions. 50.7 millimeter tip to tip on the male center link. Then the watch case itself, 48 millimeter, 40.6 millimeter for the bezel, and then the case is a little bit smaller at 40 millimeters, so the bezel does overhang the case there. I really don't, personally, I don't care for the look of this bezel and the crown knurling. I'd like something a little bit finer. Anyway, back to the dimensions. 12 millimeter thick, 20 millimeter lug width, and it does taper down very nicely to 15.5, so maybe that has something to do with the comfort of this watch on wrist. It's very comfortable on wrist. 17.7 millimeter clasp width, and then from here to here we're 45 millimeter. Measure that on this one because it's a pretty long clasp, almost as long as the watch case itself, but again, still very comfortable on wrist. And the size for my 6.5-inch wrist, this weighs in at 139 grams. So on to the Black Bay 58. We do have female end links, so the lug tip to lug tip of the case is how it feels on a wrist, which is 47.7 millimeter. A little bit long for the diameter of the watch, which is 39 millimeter. But again, I think it's part of the vintage look and appeal of this watch. 12 millimeter thick, same thickness as the Ginault, but this one is rated to 200 meters water resistance, and the Ginault is rated to 300 meters water resistance. 20 millimeter lug width, and it does taper down to 18 millimeter. Tapers in a little bit different way. It's kind of a stair step where each link just is increasingly smaller versus a angled taper like on the Ginault and on the Submariner. And a size for my 6.5-inch wrist, it weighs in at 132 grams. We talked about the bezel action. I didn't talk about the crown. Let's unscrew this crown, see how it... So this has a very slight amount of crown wobble. I normally don't pay attention to the crown wobble, but this one on the Ginault seems to be a bit excessive, so that's why I'm comparing it. The crown just feels clunkier. You have to hold it in hand to feel it, but it does have a bit of wobble here. Hopefully you can see that there. It doesn't feel quite as smooth screwing it in and out. So there we go, right there. Another benefit of the Tudor is the movement. The movement is rated to 70 hours of power reserve, and that is the so-called in-house movement. Story for a different day, but it technically is an in-house movement, but it's made by another company only for Tudor. And in the Ginault, we have the Solita SW200-1 Elabore grade, and they have regulated it in-house. But I would trust the accuracy of the Tudor more than the Ginault. Power reserve on this one, I would say, is around 40 hours. They don't exactly have it listed, but SW200 typically good for about 38 to 41 hours, somewhere around there. So let me get both of these on wrist, and then we'll close out the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it, and it really does help me out. That's the other thing, the clasp is not as smooth on this as the Tudor. It's kind of got like a two-step process when you push this down. It has a click and then another click. You don't feel that on this. This does have ceramic ball bearings. So the clasp closing is very nice on this. It's so smooth. Sometimes I kind of fidget with this, but you can see the ceramic bearings right there. The white ball right there is a ceramic bearing. This one doesn't have that. Anyway, wrist shot. You can have a 6.5-inch wrist with a 52mm wristband. The watch does wear very comfortably on wrist though. Styling just isn't quite for me with the way the bezel looks. If it had a coin edge bezel, I'd be a lot more tempted to keep it. Same thing for the crown if it was more Rolex style. But I know they want to be a little bit different than Rolex, so they implemented these differences here. I do like the red second hand and the pop of red text there. The original Submariner had red text on it. Good luck finding one of those Submariners. Well, you can find them, they're just very expensive. There we go, there's the Black Bay 58. The text is gilt, as well as the hands and the indices. Yeah, I really like wearing this watch. So 47.7 lug to lug and then 39mm diameter, arguably a better size watch for my 6.5-inch wrist. All right, let's take a look at the Lume and then we'll close out the video. All right, so on the left, of course, we have the Ginault Silent Service with the full lumed bezel insert. And on the right, my Tudor Black Bay 58. As far as the lume brightness by eye here, you know, it's hard to say, but I'd probably give it to the Tudor Black Bay. Pretty much equal as far as the lume brightness. Just depends on if your eye sees the bluish color better or the greenish lume of the Black Bay 58. I think the Black Bay 58 lume is a little bit handicapped by the vintage coloring that they apply to it, so it makes it not quite as bright. But you know, either watch is perfectly fine for reading in the dark if that's your thing. So that will conclude this video. As always, thank you for your time and thank you for watching.